Welcome to the Talk Fest, a blend of passion and movement arts, technology, and entrepreneurialism. Bringing new ideas to the world through engaging stories and guests designed to flip your world upside down. Introducing your host, the web slinger himself, Matthew Hissong.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Matthew Hissong here. We are jumping right into an interview with Lamonte Goode. He is a good friend of mine and a mentor, especially in the equilibrium arts, which is handstand training and handstand arts, handstand performing arts. And this was a very interesting conversation for me to have because it really embodies passion and driving in the direction of your goals and what makes your heart happy. So enjoy this episode with Lamonte Goode. Let's dive right in. Welcome to the Talk Fest with your host, the Web Slinger. I have a special guest with us today, Lamonte Goode. He's been a friend of mine and one of my handstand coaches for, 10 years now. I think I've been coming in and just learning from you, different workshops, down in Santa Monica, everything. So wanted to kind of kick it off is what's one hurdle or struggle that you've had to have overcome that really helped define you as a person?
Amazing question. I would say the hurdle or the lesson was just like believing in yourself, that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Like you have to really believe and you have to put the vision into the reality. Like you have to have the concept of the visualization, and therefore it will manifest into reality. So just ultimately simple, just believe in yourself, like getting out of your own way and believe that anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
Got it. Yeah. And what about like habits? And I mean, you are really good at handstands and you're known for your flexibility, your one-arm handstands. That takes a lot of practice as one who's been working on that kind of stuff for a long time. What are some habits that you put into place? What kind of mindset do you get into when you're building or structuring how to learn something?
Excellent question. So I like to say that the first, I would call it marker, was watching like the Star Wars, watching Luke Skywalker balance with Yoda on his foot. So as a kid, that was really inspiring to me. Like that scene was burned in my head. And so it was like an imprint. And then years later, I was like really fascinated with the concept of hand balancing. Again, like law of attraction, manifestation, I really wanted to learn how to get into hand balancing. So at the time, my girlfriend, she was from Europe. She was from Prague, Czech Republic. And so I would go from Los Angeles to Czech to go see her, hang out with her. And in one of the rehearsals, by chance, someone from Cirque du Soleil was a coach, was at her practice, and they saw me trying to practice like worm handstands and playing around, and they mentioned that they was from Cirque, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing! Like I want to learn how to do this. So they taught me one little technique and some pointers. And then from there, that was it. Like I was just like laser focused on just that. And that's what got me on my path of hand balancing. And so I just stayed dedicated to this one technique, and I just kept doing it over and over and over and over until I understood the concept and I burned it in my mind. I was like, okay, well, this is it. And then just from that, the training regimen, I got the actual results. I was like, wow, like I'm actually holding my handstand and I'm learning how to hold one arm handstand as well. So it was really just about taking this one technique and applying the practice in 1,000 hours, like literally thousands of hours. And then one day it just clicks and you just understand the concept and you just keep going from there and it just evolves. And
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it was, and I took the same concept and I applied it to actually different balances. So like air babies or side chairs or air chairs. I was really fat, but I don't know. I was really just blown away by the concept of learning how to like balance your body on one arm. And
I mean,
so,
I'm really curious. What techniques specifically are you talking about? Can you explain it in a simple format?
Yeah, so the concept of hand balancing is like balancing all your body on one one arm or one leg, but in my case it's always been one arm. So uh trying to take like the concept of the fusion of like b-boys, breakdancers, typically use a lot of balances, but like the circus really emphasizes on mastery of the one arm. So I'm like a fusion of, I'm like a hybrid of both. So I come from the b-boy background and the circus. So b-boys tend to learn things by like repetition, but everything isn't really polished and super clean or visually aesthetically beautiful. But I was really focused on getting a lot better. So I was adopting the disciplines and the techniques or the aesthetics of like the more traditional hand balancers and applying it to the b-boy concept. So there's like a new age or like a new way of like hand balance that's like innovative but classic at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I've always taken away from reading books about Bruce Lee and everything is you just take away what is useful to you and you try to really disperse it down into like what's actually functional and what do I want to accomplish out of this? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, functional. And it's funny that you said that because I was really, well, still am inspired by Bruce Lee. Really inspired by his philosophy and his mindset and the way he trained and his thought process. And he was a fan of like integration and like hybrid training, you know, like MMA comes from Bruce Lee. So in a sense, I took the same concept from b-boying and like acrobatics and like freestyle movement and abstract breaking and kind of just put it all together. And CyberYoga was born from that because it's a hybrid practice and it's ever expanding. So it's always going to evolve. Like CyberYoga now will look completely different 10 years from now. Whoever takes on the discipline and that practice is going to be way more advanced. So it's never meant to be stagnant. It's always going to upgrade and just evolve.
Nice. Let's see. Let's speak a little bit about habits. How have you transformed some of the thought processes and the habit building of the handstand and then applied it to other aspects of your life?
I would say, well, just like, it's hard to say because a lot of people say I'm amazing at handstands and balance, but then I'm a movement specialist as well. So, but as far as with the balancing, I would say the takeaway is literally the balance of life, like learning how to balance like adversity, balancing yourself, balancing your mindset, balancing relationships, balancing your patterns.
Always moving, right? Everybody thinks that a handstand is just this rock solid, non-movable unit, but it's not. It's this play back and forth. And then as you get a little bit more advanced, the play is less and it's just less noticeable, but it's still kind of there. You know what I mean? Like you're always kind of recalibrating, so to speak.
You're moving, but stable, you know, and like that's life, having the control and the overall ability and the stability of the grounding, but then being able to move at the same time, like being grounded, but then learning how to be very flexible at the same time. So yeah, like it's interesting because my life is all about balance and I'm literally like the balance guy.
I love it. It really actually does help kind of keep you centered and focused in other areas of your life too, just to understand it's like this tranquility that you are finally able to accomplish, but it's not like it wasn't there to begin with. It's just you learned how to use that tranquility properly. I don't exactly know.
Mhm.
How would you explain a handstand? Because there's some people in my audience that have never done a handstand. How would you explain a handstand to a person who's never done a handstand?
How to do it?
No,
Or
not even just like like what it feels like.
wow.
Like for me, the first time I ever where I felt like I actually accomplished a handstand, it was like my feet were in the air, my hands were on the ground, and I was like, oh, I thought this would be a bigger like aha moment. Like it was just there. You know what I mean? It was there the whole time, but I was the one who was actually stopping me from being able to do it. It was like the fear, the limitations that I was putting on myself. It felt like when it finally came, it was just like, oh, this is just kind of natural. I don't know if that's a common experience. I've never actually asked people what they feel like doing a handstand, but that's kind of cool.
For me, I feel like I've been doing handstands for a long time. So like
I don't know what being normal feels like.
yeah, like, even not even in this reality, but like in past lives, I've probably done handstands, and it's like it's so familiar to me. It's like it's my form of meditation. It's where I go to kind of relax and to center. Like it's actually my meditation. Handstands are my meditation. So for me, it's like it's freedom. It's flying. It's like it's just a sense of like flying, and you have so much control. That's what I feel.
To describe it. I feel like that's kind of a good analogy, is just flying. It's just kind of you're there,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you're up
you're
in the air, you're flying,
you're flying and you're focused because you have to be focused to do a handstand.
yeah, it does kind of feel like you're flying a plane. I've flown a plane before, and it very much feels like if I turn just a little bit, we're gonna go like just tank somewhere. And the handstand feels the same way. You're like, if I get too excited and overcorrect too much, I'm going down.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. And then the one arm handstand is like the next level of that. But yeah, it's freedom because you have to pay your dues to be able to hold a handstand. So you have to and once you like paid your dues and you earn your stripes, like the ability to hold it and be focused and be zen. Yeah, it's freedom because you worked hard. Wait.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you overcome different adversities in like an entrepreneurship type realm? I mean, you've been running your own business, you've been a performer, a dancer. I mean, like pretty much everything you've ever done has always kind of been in an entrepreneurial fashion, right?
Well, I believe in like manifesting and creating your own reality. And I feel like my purpose is here to create what I create and to receive the abundance of the gifts that you put the work into. So, when I was younger, I did like a 9 to 5, but I just knew that that wasn't my lane and my purpose. And I knew that I'm here for like a specific reason. So I definitely got the download to create CyberYoga and another brand. And so I wanted to make a full-time living just doing that. And of course, it's not easy, but you have to believe in your vision and your purpose. And it's my calling. So someone said it best. It's like, if you're in alignment, God or the universe will provide you what you need to basically to keep it going, to like sustain what you want to do. So if you're on your path, on your purpose, in alignment, God source will bring you what you need to be in abundance to keep doing what you're doing, to inspire others and to inspire yourself.
That makes sense. And so for some of our younger audience members, how do you know what that passion is? If you've like, how do you discover your passion or your purpose, or how do you know that that's something that you should pursue further? I mean, I know I've been into the healing arts for a long time. So for like massage therapy, sports massage and stuff like that. And then the yoga kind of was a crossover into that. And I ran from that purpose for a long time. I knew it was pulling me, but I was like, nah, there's too much money I got to invest in that, too much time. Like, it just doesn't seem, I don't know. I want to go do this. You know what I mean? And then it took almost an existential crisis. I had a really close friend die, but not die as in just like, boom, like they're dead. It was brain dead. So they were alive, and then they were running through tests and everything. And then they're like, yeah, she's gone, but heartbeat was still going, you know what I mean? But the soul was gone and everything. And then it was like, right after that moment, I was like, you know what? I haven't been living my purpose. I need to really go into this, and I need to go fully into this. Speak about that. How do you, is there a way, or you just kind of have to, how do you get out of your own way then and figure it out?
Interesting. How you find the passion, or you, for me, it was like, for me, the first time was in 2012. I went through like a really hard time, like a really dark time. And, you know, as the Mayans had said, like, that was a year of like transition in humanity, like a shift. So for me, that year 2012 was a shift, and I was like in a really dark place. And so I needed to find a way to get out of my darkness. You know, it was really dark. And so it was yoga and training that was like, this is where you need to go. This is where you need to put all this pain and frustration and anger. You got to put that into something constructive. And so I promised myself, if I got out of this darkness, that I was going to inspire and to lead by example and to empower people in the way I do it. So yeah, so I got out of my rut, and yoga was like there for me. My training was there for me. It was the only place that I can go to like feel free and to be happy and to find the light. So that's when CyberYoga was born. CyberYoga was born in like 2013. It was like a year later.
I was like right after I met you too. I met you at the opening of the Tempest Free Running Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And you were doing like handstands, and I was doing handstands, and we were doing ninja stuff, and you were doing ninja stuff. And it was just super cool. Yeah. That's how I made a lot of people, actually. It's like, we were just doing ninja stuff, and yeah, we were like,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was cool too, because you were just like, I think you were just doing mostly b-boying, like at that kind of point. It was some handstand type stuff, but it definitely wasn't the cyber yoga.
No, cyber wasn't born yet. No. So cyber yoga, like the idea was born, and I was like, okay, well, I need to build it. Like, I have to brand, I have to find a way to cultivate it, I have to find a way to market it. And so I was like going through the process. Everything was a process, but it was like an amazing process, like trying to find a name. Like, what do I want to call this movement? Like, what do I want to call it? And so cyber is actually like an acronym. It's calisthenics, yoga, breakdance, evolution, revolution. And I believe like the human body, or us as human beings, we're like spiritual machines. So we are the highest technology. We're like biological machines. So I wanted to create something that's, because we're going into this new age of like technology, and everything's like uncertain, but let's the cyber age. So I want to maintain the integrity of yoga and the spirituality going into the future space. So CyberYoga was born. So like, I wanted to create something that people can really be inspired by, something ancient but futuristic at the same time. So CyberYoga was that. And so the inception came from there. And then it wasn't until I did my first photo. No, it was like one of my first photos that I published on Instagram. Like one of my poses I posted, I was like, let me just post a pose.
Yeah.
And it went viral overnight. People were like, what is
that the one where you're like behind your hamstring? Like if you guys haven't seen his Instagram, like you got to look at it. He's got his foot behind his head. It's going like this. Like, I don't even know how to describe it without showing a picture.
Yeah, it was actually two poses. The first one was like, I believe I call it the cyber pigeon.
Yeah.
The other one's called the super soldier pose. And the super soldier pose
soldier was the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Because yogis were like, we've never seen this before. Like, we've never seen this stuff before. It was like what I do. So I just posted it, just out of fun. I was like, let me just post my stuff. And overnight it went viral. And so for me, that was the confirmation that I was onto something. It was my calling. I was like, okay. And so from there, I just kept on creating, kept on producing. People were just like mind blown. Like, but the name, I call myself Nightmare Tales back then, before CyberYoga. So I was like, still trying to find the name of what I wanted to create.
Yeah, like a little branding crisis there. I've been through those.
Exactly. I was like, Nightmare Tales. Like, what?
It was like always Lamonte Tales Good, B-Boy Tales, like CyberYoga. Like I feel like sometimes you get so involved in a sport or a movement or something like that, it's hard to pull yourself back out and be like, okay, if I'm going to brand this, I also need to loop in people who don't really involve themselves that deep. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult. It's difficult to then come up with a name, a brand, an image, like of what you want. You know what I mean? It's like trying to look into the future and plan it today.
Exactly. And definitely like enjoying the process, like you go from then you're like, oh my God, to where you are now. It's like, it's a brand. Like I've actually created a brand, like two brands, Neo Sutras is another brand that me and my partner created. And it's incredible to you, but it's like you got to follow your passion. And like I said before, if you're on your path and your passion, God's going to show you where you need to go. He's going to be like, hey, here you go. And so for me, the Instagram was like the confirmation. It was a calling, and I was like, okay. And then from there, I was just like passionate about it, super passionate about it. Got more like, I was getting signs, I was getting like offers and deals from different brands, clothing brands, because I was in TV and film before. So I was always like relying on like doing movies and commercials, but I wanted to create something of my own that I can monetize and to inspire people. Something that I've created my own.
It's so different going and doing gigs or different like little jobs here and there that it's just like a finite period of time you're going to be working, and actually building your own business. And it's it's like the easy road and the hard road is creating your own. But once you do create your own path, your own business, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I feel like I've done so many different things and stuff like that, but I can't even imagine not having that entrepreneurial spirit and that creation. It's something about it. It's almost like an art form, and building your own business is like this giant work of art that you're just trying to get people to understand from the outside. You get the actual fulfillment from the inside and working it and stuff like that. Especially if you do it right, I feel like it's a really great solution that you can bring into the market and get people to really enjoy and stuff. So
absolutely. Like I believe in the best way to predict the future is to create it. So I was like, I'm going to create my own future. I'm not going to let time and the reality create a present for me. I'm going to create my own future. And so I want to be able to monetize and to live abundance and be happy and be truly so what I'm looking for,
fulfilled,
grateful that I've created something.
Yeah,
I can make a living off of it, and I can leave a legacy in a positive way. So yeah, It's like, and now, when I hear my name on stage, or if I get billed, or somebody's write me a check and has my brand name on it, it's just like, wow, like it was a simple idea. It was a thought. It was a thought that manifested into reality. It's so powerful, like like Amazon, like you've seen the photo of like
Yeah.
Jeff in his garage, like the famous photo.
Yeah.
Look at where he is now. Apple, like all these amazing brands, Nike. And I was like, CyberYoga is gonna be like a household name. It's gonna be like an Equinox, like a Nike, and it's gonna be like its own thing. And I see it, so I'm just like, okay, I'm just putting in the work.
Put it in, yeah.
It's gonna happen.
It's a lot of work, but it is very fulfilling when you start to see your creation start to like get traction and actually get some places and stuff. It's the difference between just living in the world and actually pushing the world a little bit. Like you're nudging it, you know what I mean? And you're like,
ripples.
I need some elbow room here. Let me play around a little bit.
Exactly, ripples. And then I've created something called Team CyberYoga, where it's like I have a bunch of family or like disciples that they all follow under the CyberYoga discipline, but they have their own skill sets. Like one person is like a motivational speaker, another person's like a brainiac, like a mastermind. Another person has a PhD in dance, and so I'm just building that team, and it's all about like-minded energy, and we're all pushing and showing love, being love, and inspiring people to be their best selves. But it's all under the CyberYoga umbrella. So I'm just what I do in the physical movement aspect, or the more spirituality, and another person does like meditation. So it's like still it's under the same umbrella, but just creating like a team of like-minded individuals to inspire the world.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Just getting yourself to keep progressing forward, and then getting people around you that are sparked and can feel that fire, and then and then you continue to push each other forward. I think that's extremely important. So what is one takeaway as a final wrap up? What's one takeaway that if somebody implemented your advice, they would benefit greatly from? Like, what's a takeaway, a good takeaway for them to actually implement? Because ideas are great, but implementation is key, right?
I would say just follow your truth. Don't let nobody tell you what you can or cannot do. Just follow your truth. Really be who you are. I mean, I'm coming from a positive perspective, because this could be both sides. Because one person can follow their truth and be on the other side of bad, or good or bad. But I'm talking about in the positive light. Just follow your purpose. My mentor or my life coach told me to follow my purpose, like pursue your purpose. And once you pursue your purpose, everything falls into place. And that's it. That's all I can say for now. I have many, but this one is like the one that got me, because my mentor is the one that kind of schooled me and put me on game and said, hey, you got to follow your purpose. Everything falls into place. And it's so true. Like, I am on my purpose. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just here to do what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm here to do my duty, put my time in. And when it's time to transition, I feel like I left a legacy and inspired and caused a positive ripple in the collective,
Yeah. Live authentically, live in your purpose. I love that. So you guys have been hanging out with Lamonte Cyber Tails Yoga. What do you call yourself now? Do you still use Tails?
No tails, cyber
No,
yoga.
just cyber yoga all the way. I'm still saying Lamonte
I
Goode good in my head. It's like early branding, early branding. But where can people find you? How can they find some more content, learn more about cyber yoga?
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you can follow me on my website at CyberYoga or Instagram at CyberYoga, Facebook fan page at CyberYoga1, um, Twitter at CyberYoga_. Um, Everything Cyber Yoga. And then you can follow my other brand with my partner at Neo Sutras, Neosutras, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Neo Sutras, and Cyber Yoga.
Beautiful. Yeah. And that's CYBERYOGA, cyber
Yeah,
yoga.
Cyber Yoga.
All right.
Matthew,
Well, I appreciate your time so much. I always enjoy conversations with you, and I enjoy the time that I've gotten with you as my mentor, as my teacher, and I really appreciate you so much, man.
likewise, brother. Thank you so much, man. And always a pleasure, to catch up with you. Yeah, you're a very stand-up guy, really positive dude, and I like to have you in my circle. And it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. So thanks for having me.
Hopefully you enjoyed that episode with Lamonte Goode. I'm really excited about having him on the show and all of the good nuggets and insights that he had to share. Go follow him at Cyber Yoga on Instagram. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care.